Hey, here at Farnsworth was super good. She was awesome.
I love you, baby.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our show tonight. Tonight on Swenson and Williams, we'll be discussing the Farnsworth invention, put on recently by Hillcrest High School Productions Company.
Yes. It ran last weekend, and it seemed to be quite a hit. They couldn't get too many people in.
It was a very interesting space that they had set, and I actually took a few notes. Let me see here. They couldn't fit a ton of people because they had it in a closed-off, sort of a black box style theater where you were actually part of what was going on.
It made it quite intriguing. You couldn't look away because you never knew where the action was going to be.
Exactly. That was one thing that I very much enjoyed, is everyone seemed so into it because, you know, you had to be watching over here and then suddenly there'd be a bang and someone would slam down a chair, be over there.
Yeah.
Just gotta always pay attention.
And you never knew where the scene was either.
No.
1 minute you'd be outside.
Next minute you're in New York, then Russia.
It was wild. It was hard to keep up, but they had those
Crazy.
TVs to help you.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was pretty effective when they would remote to the next location. That helped the audience stay engaged, know what was going on, you know, change the time and place.
It was very helpful, and then they had the loud sound that would play over to bring the attention to anyone who was zoning out.
I don't think you could be zoning out because there were actors all around you, and you just had to be knowing what was going on because they were flipping and flopping your attention all over the place.
I agree.
So, do you think this was an effective way to tell the story with the immersion part of it?
I do think it was. As I have stated previously, it was a great way to keep the audience involved. However, I do feel that there may have been a few problems with people who were maybe slightly hard at hearing or were in certain areas because they didn't have microphones set up to each actor.
But I did like the way that they got the audience to feel as though they were in the story.
That was great.
Having it happen all around them. I think that helped tell the story better because Philo, you know, just a kid from Indian Creek, Utah, he built the first television, so that made us feel like we could do more.
So recently I heard that you were actually involved in this Farnsworth invention.
Was I?
What did you think about the acting aspect
Oh
of it?
man, it was quite the challenge. So in multiple rehearsals we talked about the music of the script, which is an interesting concept. Aaron Sorkin, brilliant writer who wrote this, really well done. He calculated every last breath and sound that the character would make. And so we had to trust the script that was what we were supposed to do and the timing, and we had to find the music with our scene partner, and so that was a process. It was very different than working with other playwrights. I found it very intriguing, but a challenge.
One thing I very much enjoyed was the way that you guys pulled off the aging process with Philo, because obviously you can't make Colin actually older. So the way that he used his body to show how he was getting older with like maybe a little bit more hunched over, especially with like his clothing, like right, he would dress a little bit lower.
In the beginning scenes with Leslie and Gorell, he seemed to be more put together and up straight and confident. And as he went on, he didn't lose confidence, but his body seemed to, get weighed down. I thought that was a very good use of his body. We also just wanted to touch on the application that this play could have in our day today. What do you think about that?
You know, recently I heard there was a march for women.
Wasn't that today?
That was today.
Today?
January
Saturday?
20th.
Man. That was
crazy
really
stuff
recent.
going on, yeah.
In this story, Farnsworth Invention, Philo T. Farnsworth, he stands up against the big corporation of RCA to try to get his rights for the television because that's what he believes is right, is that he invented it first, which we all know that he did. I think that applies to the Women's March because the women are standing up against the big corporation, the government, the president, to fight for what they think is right, and inspired me to want to fight.
Great time to be alive.
Yeah.
And now on to our last subject. What did you think of the script of Farnsworth Invention?
The script. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but I thought it was absolutely brilliant. One of the things I really enjoyed was the use of calling back to things that were previously mentioned within the script. There's always a reason something was brought up. For example, Pem and Philo in their first scene, Philo brings up the smoke with the cigarette, And then later, that's what happens with the television. And we wouldn't have known the importance of that if there wasn't that beginning moment. I thought that was really
Definitely,
brilliant.
that was great. One thing that I did like a lot was the mix between the two stories, because seeing one story and another story are great together, and everyone's involved in that. But when you have the two stories pulling together to like enhance the other one, and be like, this is what's happening on this side, and this is what's happening on the other side, but they both tie in because they're both fighting for what they think is going on. And
It did get a little confusing sometimes because you didn't really know what was true since there were two narrators and they were telling each other's stories. Any last comments?
I do not think so. How about you, Miss Swenson?
I just really enjoyed it. It was a pleasure working with the script and the other castmates. We're going to give that a thumbs up.
I'll give it a 1.5 thumbs up.
1.5 thumbs up. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us tonight on Swenson and Williams.
See you next time.